We are about to see and hear what happened to Scarborough 100 years ago on this very date and on this very hour. Our commemoration event has now started!
On this day, at this hour, 100 years ago, shortly after 8 o'clock, the town was ferociously attacked from the sea. 2 German battle cruisers came out of a fog bank and opened fire on the castle headland. Shells hit the Coast Guard station, the empty army barracks, the keep and walls. It was the start of the town's worst attack since the English Civil War. A 3rd German ship sailed on towards Filey, laying over 100 mines that would later kill at least 100 mariners. When the battle cruisers cleared the headland, they fired on the sea-bathing infirmary that was already full of wounded soldiers returned from the Western Front. Shells hit the Olympia Picture Palace, the Bell Hotel and houses on Eastborough, and holes were blasted into the elegant houses on the Crescent. A shell passed through the workroom at Marshall and Snellgrove's department store. A few minutes later, and it would have been packed with seamstresses. The Town Hall and Royal Hotel were hit, and 160 windows shattered. Southcliffe was next. The Wesleyan Church, St Martin's on the Hill and the Vicarage were hit. Albion Road and Crescent Road suffered from shrapnel. On the corner of South Street, 47-year-old shop worker Leonard Ellis was the first to die as he opened the door to his place of work. A second shell exploded a few yards away, killing 45-year-old Harry Frith. Shells peppered the Valley Road and Municipal School. At Scarborough College, one teacher led his students over Oliver's Mount to safety. After the first 15 minutes of firing, there was a pause while the ships turned around. Mrs. Alice Duffield set off to find her husband, but was sadly killed on the steps of a nearby hotel when the firing resumed. On Farley Road, 41-year-old postman Alfred Beard was killed on the steps of Denali House. Inside, 29-year-old maid Margaret Briggs was also killed by a shell exploding in the library. 39-year-old maid Edith Crosby was the next to die. It was the day her fiancé was returning from the Western Front to marry her. Houses in Springbank, Westbank, Highfield and the length of Seamer Road suffered damage. On Westbourne Park, 42-year-old Bertha McIntyre died as she picked up her 14-month-old baby John. Both were killed, but the father survived. The Fallsgrave Road and Gladstone Road areas suffered half the fatalities. A teenager and several adults lost their legs. 28-year-old maid Ada Crow died as she tried to convince her employer the noise was just from Navy gunnery practice. At Gladstone Road School, a shell brought down the roof. Half an hour later, and many children would have been killed while standing in assembly. 30-year-old Emily Merriweather died ushering people into her shop's cellar for safety on Prospect Road. John Hall, architect, aged 65, was the oldest person to die in the raid. Number 2 Wycombe Street was the site of the worst tragedy, where 4 members of the same family were killed. John Ward, aged 9, died along with his grandmother, Joanne Bennett, his uncle Albert, and another child, George Barnes, aged 5. Christopher Bennett survived the blast and gave this account. I found Mother and the children in one corner. Mother had lost a hand. We moved her into the yard with little Jack and George, but it was all too late. Christopher later joined the army to avenge these deaths, but was killed on the Western Front in 1917. 15-year-old George Taylor was the only Boy Scout to die throughout the entire war. He was killed collecting a newspaper from a local shop. 18 died in this barbaric attack, and many more were maimed and injured. The German ships sailed north and shelled Whitby before meeting up with other battle cruisers that had just attacked Hartlepool, where they had killed and injured many more. Scarborough was not a military target. It was an easy target, close to a gap in the East Coast minefield and on a direct line from the German naval base. Winston Churchill branded the German Navy as the baby killers of Scarborough, and the phrase was reproduced on hundreds of newspaper front pages across the globe. And the anger that killing women and children caused led to a huge boost in recruitment of soldiers to fight on the Western Front. On this day, let us remember all the innocent victims and hope and pray that events like this never happen anywhere in the world again.
It is my honour to carry out the roll call. I read the roll in the order as they died. Leonard Ellis, Porter, age 47. Harry Frith, delivery driver, age 45. Alfred Beale, postman, age 41. Margaret Briggs, maid, age 29. Joanna Bennett, housewife, age 58. Albert Bennett, a driver with the Army, age 22. John Christopher H. Ward, age 9. George James Barnes, also age 9. John Hall, architect, age 65. John Shields Riles, age 14 months. Bertha McIntyre, insurance agent, age 42. Emily Lois Merriweather, shopkeeper, age 30. George Arlen Taylor, Boy Scout, age 15. Mary Crew, a widow, age 60. Ada Crow, maid, age 28. Edith Crosby, maid, age 39. Alice Duffield, housewife, age 38. And Harry Harland, shoemaker, age 30, who died a few days later in hospital. We also pay tribute to the many mariners who left our ports never to return. Many killed by the sea mines laid off our coast during that gruesome war. This roll call includes local fishermen and merchant navy members who left our ports to do that business to sustain the country.
I am here today representing Her Majesty the Queen because this is a very significant commemoration. The message of today that should go from Scarborough is simply this: peace and goodwill to all men.
Thank you all for coming. God bless you all, and God